All right. Hi, Zola. We're super excited that you are here to talk with us and share a little bit more about your life. So Zola is the Cup of Cold Water Ministries 2020 and 2021 Next Generation Scholarship recipient. She's in graduate school at Moody Bible Institute, and she is here to tell us all the details about that. And yeah, Zola, I'm so excited to learn more about your story and to be able to share it with people who have heard about you or maybe not heard about you. But yeah, okay, so Zola, do you want to tell us what your official degree title is?
Hi everyone, and it's great to see you all. It's great to see you, Katie. And actually, I would like to introduce myself in Mongolian
Yeah,
language.
go for it.
It will sound interesting to some people like that.
Yeah.
Сайн байцгаана уу? Намайг Мөнхзөл гэдэг би Монголоос ирсэн. So I just basically say my name is Mungzul Manda, and you can call me Zola, and I'm from Mongolia. And as you asked before, my official degree title is Clinical Mental Health Counseling, and I'm in grad school.
Okay, awesome. And this is you just wrapped up your first year, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so you are from Mongolia, as you just kind of introduced yourself in Mongolian, so I'm sure people can assume that a little bit. But do you want to tell us specifically what region in Mongolia you're from?
I am from capital city of Ulaanbaatar, but my neighborhood is in the west side of the city, and I'm basically from the Gare district area. And as some of you may know, Gare district area is not connected to the city's infrastructure, which means no running water and sewage and heating system. And yeah, I'm from the Gare district.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about your community? Like, I'm sure, especially a lot of people who are listening to this are probably from America, and so we have never been to Mongolia. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the differences and what it was like?
So about my community, my community in Mongolia consists of different group of people, and maybe I would like to talk about a little bit more about my home church. And as I said before, my home church is located in a Gare district, and that area is mostly like people live in like poor environment and has low income. And also there is so many like social issues exist. And yeah, my home church is very small church, around 50 people. And yeah, and also about the community, I guess I would say I do have like some like church leaders and pastors from the Bible college. And actually I graduated Bible college in my country as well. And after we graduated, we founded little like community to share our experience, like life and how our church going. And all my alumni students and my church members and other friends in Mongolia are waiting for me to like equip myself to better serve in Mongolia.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's very exciting. We'll get more into your future plans in a little bit. But I guess at this time, would you mind just sharing your story with us, a little bit about your childhood, your family, and just kind of your story, what makes you who you are today?
So I was born in Ulaanbaatar city in Mongolia, and I'm the middle child of the family, and I do have older and younger sisters. And as I remember, my family were Buddhist at the time. The Buddhism is the main religion in my country, and it's very common to be a Buddhist in Mongolia. And thankfully, at age of 6, in my neighborhood, the missionary is planning in a church in my neighborhood, and I've been invited to the Sunday school. And I was so curious about different languages and cultures, and that's why I decided to go to the church to learn Korean, actually. And like, by the grace of God, I was so captivated by the word of God.
Yeah.
And I decided to go to the church every Sunday, even though my parents were Buddhist. And in Mongolia, like, Christianity were considered to be a Western religion, which Mongolian people don't want to accept in their life. And my parents were super, like, not wanting to go me to the church, and actually they hated like Western culture and religion and everything else about the church. But throughout the time, God is really changing my behaviors and relationship with my friends and parents. And they started to notice that Christianity is not a bad religion, and they accepted me, like, going to the church. And also one of the, like, big reason for coming to the church is praying for my father, because my father was like high functioning alcoholic at the time.
Okay.
And I wanted to pray for my father. And yeah, that was the main reason to come into the church as a kid. And God really changed my heart, and I accepted Christ as my savior and Lord. And like, since 6 years old, I've been going to the church for all my life.
Okay.
Is there anything you wanna know more detail about that, or does it make sense?
So yeah, you said that they, like in Mongolia, they don't really like to accept Western culture, and like with that is Christianity. Is that basically widespread over Mongolia? Is it like a very cultural thing to want to like keep the Mongolian culture and not let any Western influence in? Is that pretty normal?
Yeah, it is very normal. In my childhood, it's mostly about like 20 years ago.
Okay.
But now it's changing a little bit, and people are more open to the different cultures and religion as well.
Okay. Okay. So with that, are there a lot of Christians in Mongolia? It sounds like they're progressing a little more into welcoming it. Has that changed a lot since you were a kid?
Yeah, it is. Actually, the number of the Christians in Mongolia is dramatically increased,
That's
like,
amazing.
last 3 decades. And as I heard about some survey about the Mongolian Christianity, like 1991, there were only 10 known Christians, like Mongolian Christians were there.
Wow.
But now it's like 6-7% of the population are becoming Christian, and there are 600 churches all over the Mongolia.
Wow. That's an insane improvement and increasing of Christianity. Wow. So can you tell us a little bit what it's like to be a Christian in Mongolia, as it's a very Buddhist popular country? What is it like to be a Christian there?
So as I said, like 10-20 years ago, it was a little bit harder than today, and people didn't want to accept like Christianity as a religion and the Western culture and everything goes with that. And for today, it's getting more open, and it's getting more easier to be a Christian.
Okay.
Because the law protects us to have a freedom of religion, but the population of the Christian is still few, and like if you are a Christian, you don't have like family and friends and community support.
Okay. Okay, so
Because
it's not like by the law, it's accepted, but
yeah,
socially and in the culture, you can be rejected for being a
yeah,
Christian.
yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. Let's kind of switch gears a little bit to when you came to the USA. So,
Hmm.
what year did you, well, let's go back before that. So, when did you decide that you wanted to come to the States?
Uh, as a child, I always wanted to go to the States, but I didn't have chance to come here, and I came here 2017, and I almost decided like to come into the USA 2016 because one of my friends were living here. She talked about like states a lot, and I was so interested by that.
Mhm.
And yeah, I decided like 2016, and I came here 2017.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So you came here. Did you originally come here for schooling? Was that the reason you came?
Yeah, that was the main reason for coming here, but it was not about the grad school. I came here for English course. Yeah, we called it ESL course.
Okay. 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 Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so when you arrived in the States, what was your first impression?
Wow, what a question.
I'm sure there was a lot of first impressions you got, but just overall.
Yeah, overall, I was super nervous about coming to here because that time I had almost no English and
Okay.
almost not knowing anyone. I had only one friend who's living here.
Okay.
And yeah, I was so nervous about that. Even in the airport, I struggled to find the entrance and struggled to fill the forms and communicate with the people. And yeah,
Yeah.
I was so nervous. It was so hard.
Oh my goodness. I cannot imagine how difficult that was. Were there a lot of resources for you to get like translation?
Not at all.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. As
Okay.
I remember, I basically use my body language to communicate with the people, and I knew few English words,
Mhm.
and yeah, it was extremely hard.
Wow. Okay, that's crazy. So you picked up your life and flew to a country that you didn't know the language and you knew one person. Was she there to pick you up at the airport or did you just have to find your way?
Yeah, she picked me up from the airport.
Okay. Oh my goodness. I cannot imagine the courage that that took to just get yourself here, not let alone to start school and start your career. But wow, that's amazing. Um, were there anything that was kind of funny, like culturally, that you were like, why do Americans do this? I'm sure there were a lot of things.
Yeah, there are a lot of things actually, and like first day coming to the America was so funny because I like went to the grocery shop with my friend, and some stranger smiled at me and said me hello, and I was so surprised by that, and I asked my friend, does she know her?
Uh-huh.
And she said no, and I was so shocked. Why does he smile at us and said hello?
Oh,
It's
that's so
not,
funny. That's
yeah, it's
so
not that
funny.
common in my country
Mhm.
to say hello to the strangers and smiling. It felt so weird.
Okay.
And yeah, and as I remember, it was so funny. And even in a grocery store, people say thank you a lot with each other.
Yeah.
And for example, in my country, the word thank you has deep meaning. If you really appreciate with someone, you can say thank you. And
Okay.
otherwise, you don't need to say thank you that much.
Okay.
And like first, like several months, I consider to be so rude because I didn't want to say thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's actually very funny because I'm sure myself and a lot of people listening, it's just so common to smile at strangers and we say thank you all the time. Maybe too often. But wow, thanks for sharing that. That's so funny. I'm sure that there were a lot of stories like that you just culturally had to get on the same page and it was a little funny at first.
Yeah, that's true. You
Yeah.
know that even if I know intellectually I needed to say thank you, somehow emotionally I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
It felt unfamiliar to me.
Yeah, it just felt uncomfortable and not natural and normal. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Um,
I thank you a lot now. Of
yeah,
course.
you've grown.
Yeah.
You kind of touched on this a little earlier, but what would you think that the most difficult part of moving to the States has been?
uh, I think the language barrier has been one of the biggest challenge for me
Yeah.
because like not having to like communicate with the people, not having able to communicate with with the people as much as I want is so hard.
Yeah.
And normally I'm so friendly and open and people person,
Yeah.
but coming to the USA has been so hard because I didn't have friends and family here, and I didn't have meaningful relationship with the people because of my language, and I had to improve my language as much as possible.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us don't even think about that. Like, even though you're unable to communicate, and that obviously is difficult because you may not be able to get the things you need, but emotionally and relationally, I'm sure that was very difficult for you. Did you find any? I think we had talked earlier, and you had found a church that was Mongolian in Chicago. Is that true?
uh, yeah, I found a Mongolian church in suburb areas,
Okay.
and it's kind of far away from my home, uh, far away from my home, and that's why I'm not able to go to the Mongolian church because I'm not driving.
Yeah.
And now I go to the American church, which is close to my house.
Okay. Okay.
But sometimes I can visit the Mongolian church
Yeah.
and refreshing
I'm sure
for
that's
me.
super nice to be able to just openly speak and not have to try to make sure your English is perfect and everything. Yeah. Yeah. What would you think that the biggest difference between life in the USA and life in Mongolia is?
Uh, Actually, there are a lot of things. Almost everything is different, I would say. And one of the biggest difference is people in America is so independent,
Mm,
and it's like they do their own things.
yeah.
And but in Mongolia, like people are very dependent on each other, and we are more like family oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also one of the biggest challenge for me.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like back in my country, if I wanted to do something, I ask my friend to help me or do that thing together. But in here, you have to do your thing by yourself most of
Yeah.
the time. Of
Yeah.
course, not all the time, but
Yeah. But for the
everything.
most part, yeah. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay, I guess we'll switch gears again and talk about Moody Bible Institute now.
Mhm.
So when you came to the States in 2017, did you have the intentions of going to Moody?
Uh, Actually, that time I didn't know about Moody a lot.
Okay.
And after the 3 months, like 2017, it
Hmm.
was like August, I guess. Yeah. And I met a Mongolian student who is studying in a Moody Bible.
Hmm.
And I met her, and after that, shortly after that, I met Tusha. She
Mhm.
was studying in the Wheaton College, and we talked about the Wheaton and Moody a lot because,
Mhm.
like, I wanted to go to the Moody Bible that time, but I didn't have financial resources to pay for my tuition, and my English is not good enough to enter the grad school.
Yeah.
And it was almost impossible mission for me that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in my heart, God put some desire to go to the Moody.
Yeah.
And after a year, I completely decided to go into the Moody,
Mhm.
and I like worked to improve my English, and like trying to find people who support me. And yeah, here I am and completed my first year of grad school.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm so thankful about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's a big accomplishment, especially I'm sure looking back to when you were at the point where you felt like your English wasn't good enough to get in, you couldn't financially afford it, and I'm sure it seems so far off in the distance that now I'm sure looking back, you're like, "God, thank you so
Yeah,
much." That's crazy. Yeah.
yeah, that's so.
Yeah. So what made you decide to pursue the degree that you're pursuing right now?
Uh, my undergrad major is social work, and I used to work in a non-government organization in high school as a social work before I came in here.
Okay.
And I always wanted to study more about counseling part to like help the people better.
Mhm.
And I heard about the clinical mental health counseling program in Moody, and I was super interested in that,
Mhm.
even if I didn't enter to the school.
Yeah.
And I like met professors from that program.
Mhm.
Like a year ago, I entered into the Moody, and I learned a little bit about the program, and I decided to enter that program.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
So
mostly about like one part of my big journey.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. So what is your desire to do with this degree in the future?
Ah, there are a lot of things that I wanted to, but one of the biggest thing is I wanted to contribute my knowledge to developing counseling services for youth, because there is almost no counseling centers in Mongolia,
Okay.
and there were some professional counselors and social workers, but the concept itself is very new in my country, and that's why we needed to like develop the service for you, especially for the youth.
Yeah. Okay. So to be clear, you want to use your degree back in Mongolia?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. That's amazing. So it seems like there's a pretty great need for this in Mongolia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's really amazing that you're going to be doing that. I'm very excited for you. So how have you had mentioned that back a few years ago, you thought like there's no way I can financially afford to go to Moody. How have
Mm-hmm.
you been paying to get your degree?
Last year I paid my tuition mostly by myself to doing a part-time job, and also the Cup of Cold Water Ministry helped me to pay that and helped me to make fundraising for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Has COVID-19 affected this at all?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because of the COVID-19, I lost my job and
Oh,
like haven't able to work
yeah.
for last 3 months. And yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm sure that was so stressful. Yeah. Yeah. So you had mentioned that Cup of Cold Water has helped you pay for your schooling with the Next Generation Scholarship. How were you first introduced to CCWM?
uh, and as I mentioned before, I met Tusha when she's studying at a Wheaton College, and she introduced me to Cup of Cold Water Ministry, especially to Dan and Sherry. And I talked about my passion for going to the Bible school, and they were interested in that, and we were started to communicate with each other a little bit more. And yeah, here I am, and the Cup of Cold Water Ministry is helping me to pay my tuition and like supporting me to other ways as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm so glad that we get to be a part of that and be a part of your journey. That's very exciting to be a part of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. And like since I connected to the Cup of Cold Water Ministry, I felt so supported, not only financially, like relationally and emotionally. I felt so supported, and I'm so thankful about that as well.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that we could help you out in that way. And you've been such a blessing to everyone back at the offices too. So thank you.
Good.
Can you tell us how we can be praying for you or encouraging you as you are wrapping up your first year and getting ready for your second year?
So the first thing I want to say, please pray for my family, because only my younger sister became Christian, and any other family members are not Christian yet.
Okay.
And as you know, like every time some family issue popped up, I was so distracted by that, and
Absolutely.
I'm far away from them, and I'm not able to help them.
Yeah.
It makes me so stressful, and
Yeah.
also like seeing my family is not Christian is so hard,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
still praying for them to come to Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll
And
join you in praying for that. Yeah.
yeah, please. And for the academic side, like improving my academic English and writing skill is necessary now, even though I passed the exam and like studying in Moody, oftentimes I felt so behind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I know I needed a time to improve that, but it's very challenging to
Yeah.
study in a grad school
Yeah.
in a second language.
Yeah. Is there anything else before we wrap up that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to the people who is praying for me and supporting me in different ways. And sometimes I don't even know who is praying for me out there. And I would say I would like to know you guys more, and please like email me or like keep in touch with me if you have any questions or concerns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. If you'd like to, for anyone who's listening, if you'd like to invest in our Next Generation Scholarship Fund or to see more about Zola or our past recipients, you can visit our website at ccwm.org and then scroll down to the bottom of our homepage, and then you'll see a little section for the Next Generation Scholarship. And if you'd like to reach out to Zola to send her an encouragement or to just check on her and see how she's doing, grad school's hard, so I'm sure she would really appreciate that. You can email her at mzola0724@gmail.com. So, Zola, thank you so much for sharing with us. It's been super nice to get to know you more and just hear your story, and I'm sure everyone listening or watching is super grateful to get to know you more and is very excited to see what you're going to do in the future. So thank you so much. I'm sure we'll keep in touch, and yeah, thanks so
Yeah, thanks for having me.
yeah, okay, I'll see you later.
Okay, see you later.